Those words became her fuel. She wiped away her tears, picked up her pen, and continued. In her second year, something extraordinary happened. Asenda's relentless hard work had caught the attention of one of her professors, Dr. Nkosi, a well-respected academic known for advocating for underprivileged students. He had seen the spark in Asenda, the same fire that I had seen all those years ago. Dr. Nkosi took her under his wing, offering her a mentorship that would change the course of her life. He helped her secure additional scholarships and grants to ease her financial burden. But more importantly, he believed in her. Asenda, he said one day during a quiet conversation in his office, you have something rare. You have the ability to rise above your circumstances. Not everyone can do that. For the first time in a long while, Asenda felt like she wasn't alone in her struggle. With Dr. Nkosi's guidance, she excelled even further in her studies, and by her third year, she was top of her class. She began to dream bigger: law school, a career in advocacy, maybe even starting a foundation to help children like her. Children who had the odds stacked against them but refused to give up. Years later, after graduating with honors, Asenda returned to Soweto, not as the little girl who had struggled to stay in school, but as a beacon of hope for her community. Her journey had been long and difficult, but it had made her stronger, more resilient. She had become the very person she had dreamed of, an educated woman, ready to make a difference. Asenda's return to Soweto was not the homecoming of someone looking for rest after years of struggle. She didn't come back to take a breath or to bask in her own achievements. She returned with purpose, with a heart set on changing lives. The people who once knew her as the little girl who swept classrooms after school now saw her as something much more, a symbol of hope and perseverance. The transformation was profound, but Asenda carried herself with the same quiet determination that had always set her apart. Her first major project was one she had dreamed about throughout her university years, creating an after-school program for the children in her neighborhood. She understood better than anyone the barriers they face: poverty, crime, and the constant pressure to give up on their dreams. It wasn't enough for her to succeed alone. She needed to make sure that others could walk the same path she had. Asenda's vision was simple: a safe space where children could study, receive mentorship, and dream big, just like she had once done under the dim light of a street lamp or a flickering candle. The program took root in the very classrooms where she had once scrubbed floors and cleaned desks. Walking through those familiar halls, Asenda couldn't help but remember the days when her school uniform was worn and her stomach often empty. But those hardships were what gave her the strength to push forward. And now those same classrooms echoed with the voices of new generations. The children who came to the program were wide-eyed, curious, and full of hope, much like she had been. They didn't know her entire story, but they knew she had once been where they stood now, and that was enough for them to see her as a role model. Asenda's mentorship wasn't just about academic achievement. She wanted these children to understand that their worth went far beyond their circumstances. She spoke to them about resilience, about the importance of holding on to their dreams even when everything seemed to be working against them. She taught them that education wasn't just a way out, it was a tool that could shape the future. A future where they could be the ones leading change in their communities. The opening of her after-school program was a momentous occasion, not just for Asenda but for the entire community. People gathered to witness the unveiling of a project that symbolized hope in a place where hope was often in short supply. Asenda stood at the front of the crowd, her heart swelling with both nervousness and pride. She hadn't sought out fame or recognition, but here she was, the center of attention. Her mother stood nearby, eyes brimming with tears, and I was there too, filled with a sense of pride that I could barely contain. When she addressed the crowd, her voice was strong and steady. This program isn't just for the children, she began, her eyes scanning the sea of faces. It's for all of us. It's a reminder that no matter where we come from, no matter the challenges we face, we can still rise. We can still create change, not just for ourselves but for those who come after us. There was a powerful silence after she spoke, the weight of her words hanging in the air. And then, as if a dam had burst, the applause began, soft at first, and then growing louder until it filled the schoolyard. People clapped not just for Asenda, but for what she represented: the ability to overcome, the ability to break the cycle of poverty and hardship, the ability to give back. I stood there, watching her with a lump in my throat, and realized that Asenda had done more than achieve personal triumph, she had become a force for change. In that moment, I saw her not just as the girl who had once asked me for help to stay in school, but as a leader, a beacon of hope for the future. The sun was beginning to set over the rooftops of Soweto, casting long shadows across the streets, but the mood in the crowd was anything but dark. There was a sense of something new, something transformative happening. As the golden light bathed the faces of those gathered, I felt a deep, profound sense of pride. Asenda's story wasn't just a tale of one girl overcoming the odds, it was a testament to the power of determination, perseverance, and belief in oneself. And as I stood there, watching her smile at the children who would benefit from her program, I realized something important. No matter how impossible the odds may seem, with enough determination, with enough hard work, and with just a little help along the way, anything is possible. Asenda had shown that to all of us. The little girl from the ghetto in Soweto had become a force for change, not only for herself but for an entire generation.